Hey, what is up, everybody? Nothing at Random coming at you with my next moto vlog. Got off work a little bit early today. Manager told me just to clock out early. I'm not going to argue with that. And I got about 2 hours of free time I didn't expect to have, so we're going for a ride. No specific destination, but just to get out and spend a little bit of time on two wheels once I get out of this traffic. Alright, so we're finally out of that traffic, and now I can actually cruise and talk. So it's been pretty warm so far this week here in Central Ohio. We're gonna have a bunch of rain starting tomorrow, unfortunately. But I've still been seeing quite a few guys and gals out on their bikes. It's been mostly your adventure bikes, your adventure style riding bikes or adventure touring bikes that have been out. Most baggers and cruisers that I recognize is from just seeing them around town a lot haven't been out much lately. So I'm assuming most of them have already put their bikes up for winter. I could be wrong, you know, assuming's not a proper thing to do, but it's what I do. You know, sue me. But I don't want to say I'm jealous of them because I'm obviously out here riding my little cruiser, and I love it. I mean, there are a lot more cages out and about because holiday season, everyone doing their last minute grocery shopping to make dinners, and soon to be Christmas shopping last minute. Now, I'll be honest, it's rare for me to buy gifts for other people, regardless of the occasion. I don't really get gifts for people for their birthday. I don't really get gifts for people for Christmas and graduation and stuff. If I give them anything, it's usually either like a gift card to go out to someplace to eat, or money, simply because I myself am typically a very practical person. I would rather get something I'll use and won't take up much space, or you just you know, spend time with me. I prefer quality time with people over gifts in any and all circumstances. This road's a slower road, so let's be respectful. So I never really got the hustle and bustle of last second deals and all that everyone gets obsessed with. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love to pay less for, you know, a lot of things. Now, if they started doing like huge sales on motorcycles around this time of year, you know, like a bike that's typically $22,000 costs like $14,000, you might see me perk up and catch a different interest. Beautiful animals. I'll never ride one. The likelihood you will ever get me on a horse is extremely low. Motorcycle's one thing. Man, I'm afraid that this winter is going to be a rough one, because here in Ohio we had a fairly wet summer. Our spring had a lot of rain, and I would say our summer we saw a lot of sporadic rain in the beginning, and then we had I would say a decent dry spell in the middle of it, and then we got more rain. But our fall so far has been super dry in comparison to previous years. So I am very worried that this winter is going to be a lot of snow, and I'm not looking forward to that. This is one thing I like about where I live. I live in town, but I'm only a few minutes away from countryside. You know, I've talked about this, I think, at least once in one of my other videos. I don't know if it actually the clip made it into the video or not. But I myself, I prefer this kind of riding. Nice hills and curves out in rural areas in the countryside, in comparison to being in town and being in the city. Like, for example, I hate I hate driving my car through Columbus, especially downtown, let alone being on a bike and going through there. And I'll make one exception of like a late Thursday night or very early, like Sunday morning, kind of after the nightlife dies out at 3 or so in the morning. I think it's beautiful from a distance and in the right parts, seeing the skyscrapers with a couple of lights on up in the top, seeing the some of the businesses with their neon signs. I love that. So I'm sure that, you know, if I ever went to New York, I went to like Times Square, I would probably be enamored. But man, I just don't want to be in the city. It's not my thing. You know, like a day in the city's okay, but living there, nah, I can't do that again. I did it for a year and that was enough for me. I'll take the suburbs or I'll take the countryside. Like this house right here, far enough out of town that you don't get all the noise, you don't get all the homeless people walking around. They had a detached garage that looked pretty sizable. They got probably about 2.5 acres of land, but they're only like 5-6 minutes out of town from when they want to or need to go into town for anything. It's perfect. I've been looking through my cell phone and my computer files at a bunch of the pictures and videos I've captured of this year, and I've probably taken more pictures of my bike, my girl here, alone through this year than I've probably taken of myself in the past 4 or 5. So I guess I'm not really one for like New Year's resolutions, and we're still a bit of ways from that, but I am thinking that I might have to make one of at least to get more photos of myself, because damn it, I took like a couple of pictures with people. I took a crap ton of pictures of bikes, especially my own, and then I took like none of myself, which is sad and disappointing because, you know, I'm damn beautiful. Y'all lucky to get a look at my face. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Well, that's a big fat lie, you're ugly. And you might also be right, because I could just be so good looking I'm ugly, I'm repulsive, because it hurts to look at my beauty. That's up for you to decide. This is everything I needed it to be, and a little bit more. Having a motorcycle for me this year has really helped. Now, like that out there, that is a goal. Have a nice big house, a nice big barn that I could use as a garage and workspace. Nice amount of property. Have a couple little, you know, get-togethers at. You know, I've made so many friends out of state now that I would love for them to come and visit and ride around with, and, you know, open up my home to them to stay at. But my current home could house a couple, like a married couple in a room, and then, you know, a stranded person could sleep on my couch, but that would be pretty much it. And I doubt living in town, having a couple people set up tents in my backyard would be looked at approvingly. And it's not that I give a crap about the opinion of my neighbors, but I would be more worried about if I had guests come and camp out in my yard. I would be more worried about, you know, people trying to mess with them or going into their tents and taking crap if it's not being watched attentively. So I'll say that. But we think I'm gonna turn around here and choose a slightly different route, because if I keep going this way, I will never turn around. So for anybody watching this, for you northern riders, for you riders that are in the areas of the United States or other places of planet Earth that gets really crappy, cold, snowy, icy weather during winter to the point of it being unsafe to ride, how do you cope with not being able to? Because this past winter, I rode the days that I could, which were pretty often, but I didn't dress appropriately through most of it, so they were short rides. And I'm just curious to know if do you just not ride and just like suffer? Do you layer up and go out and ride for as long as you can, start to freeze and suffer your way home? Or do you trailer the bike someplace warm for 2 months and like rent a house or something, or have a vacation home and stay there? I'm curious, because I'm kind of getting to a point now, after I'm getting a little bit older, and I'm finding a lot of joyous things to do outside, that I'm starting to really hate the ice and snow. Cold itself isn't that bad and isn't that hard for me to deal with, but it's the ice and the snow that I'm already sick of. And we haven't even had like an actual snowstorm yet. I don't even think it's officially winter yet, even though I'm calling it winter. I think we're still in fall. And I don't really know what to talk about. I've asked some of my fellow content creators here on YouTube, when they get out to make a video and record while they ride, you know, for their moto vlogs, do they write out a script and kind of like rehearse it and try to memorize it? Do they do like an outlined bullet points? Or do they just hop on the bike, get it going, and do word vomit and just whatever comes out comes out? Because I want to learn. I'd want to learn. That's kind of my thing. Is so far I've had an enjoyable time with this as a hobby, of going beyond just riding and starting to try to make these vlogs and record my rides and upload them to share with my friends. That, you know, when I'm talking, a lot of the times it's just me talking. I've not really thought of a script. It's all very spur of the moment. But, you know, I don't know if that's really is what's gonna work in the end or not. And I'm not very concerned with channel growth, but I am concerned very much so with the quality of the content that I put out. Is this a gravel road if I go straight? We're gonna find out. We are going to find out if this is a gravel road or not, which sounds dumb because I'm out on these roads pretty often, but I don't believe I've ever gone this road. Dude, not an ATV. Okay, so far it looks like it's chip and seal. I thought that was a dog. Just something out of the corner of my eye. Ooh, log cabin. Big garage. Okay. I'm jealous. Oh, God. Oh. Okay, the suspension on the Rebel. Granted, I've got a lot of miles on this thing. I don't know if it's worn out or if it's just not that good. Well, I know compared to other bikes, it's not as good after I've test ridden some, but I would still take this bike over most of them because I love how it looks. I love how it handles. I love how forgiving it is for a new rider. Because when I got on this and started riding, I basically had no seat time experience. Oh, God. There's loose gravel all over this road, and God, it is bumpy. Oh, I bet this would be a lot of more fun on like a Scram, on a Himalayan Scram, or just the Himalayan itself. I understand what Jess means when she says suspension is incredibly important for your bike. man, I grew up on roads like this, out in the middle of nowhere, going from, oh, I didn't even think of this. This might just go straight up from a chip and seal to a gravel road, which if it does, depending on the condition of the gravel road, I might turn around. I am not the, oh God, that hurt. Not the biggest fan of gravel roads on this bike. It'll do them, but I don't want to. We're gonna go left. We're gonna go left and hope to God we don't get run over. But like, you know, roads like this, up and down hills, curve into curve, you don't get that in a city, at least not any one that I've seen or heard of, you know? It's a great in-town bike. It is so light, it's so fuel efficient. I mean, the only way you're gonna get more fuel efficient than this thing is to go down to like the 300 or the, you know, one of the smaller Hondas like the CT 125, the Grom, the Monkey, or even the Navi. They all have phenomenal miles to the, you know, miles to the gallon fuel range. But you trade off a lot of other riding styles. You trade off on higher end speed. You trade off on comfort to a small degree. Like the Rebel is not a touring bike, but I've been kind of using it as a touring bike this year, going more than like 3 hours away from home on it pretty regularly. Some of it on the interstate, some of it not on the interstate. It'll do it. It's rough. We're gonna go left again and see where this takes us. I have an idea of where it might take us if my brain map is accurate. You know, I don't want to farm, but to have like 2 acres, to have about 2 acres to just sit on would be just fine by me. Put my house like right in the middle of it. That way, if I have neighbors, there's plenty of space between my homes and theirs. Because I don't really hate people, but I don't like to be bothered. You know, I like to very much be left to my own devices when I'm home. You know, if I'm outside and I wave at you or something, or if I'm out in public, I'm perfectly fine being approached. But if like I'm home, especially if I'm home and trying to do something like mowing, and I have a neighbor that just walks over, you know, I didn't wave to them or anything, and they just start wanting to shoot the shit, or sorry, they just, you know, come over and they just want to start talking. That's fine. But I'm usually kind of on a time crunch when I'm trying to do chores and stuff. I don't know how, but I seem to always manage to book myself into a corner with plans that I make with people. And that is entirely a me issue. But I don't understand how I keep doing that to my horses. How I keep doing that to myself. Man, driving through the countryside, I don't know if anybody else would consider this country. To me, this is about as close to country as I'm gonna get in my current living area. But this, I love it so much. I love, you know, it's why, like, I don't really care for beaches, but like mountains, hiking, trails, I'm right there. Once in a while, going swimming isn't that bad. I don't mind it. You know, splashing around in a lake or a nice pool or something, I can do that. I can enjoy that. But, you know, if we're talking like go swimming in the ocean, sheesh, I'm gonna take a hard pass on that. And I think I just came full circle. I definitely came full circle. I was on this road talking back in the beginning. So, trying out the camera on my phone to use as a secondary front view, since I don't have another GoPro, but it looks like it's getting weirdly wavy just from small glances at it. But we're gonna give it a shot. You know, see what happens. But I don't know if it'll be usable, and I don't know if I want to go ahead and invest on a second camera to mount on my bars yet. Giving this a test. I'm not excited for the quality I'm seeing while recording on my phone right now, but it's become pretty apparent from watching other motovloggers having a front camera facing me on the bike will be very valuable for the experience, because I'm gorgeous. And, you know, I'm enjoying the hobby. It's been a pretty good ride so far. I'm enjoying the ride so far. So, thanks for tagging along if you've been here for this long. So that's going to do it for this one, y'all. Love you. Thanks for coming. And I'll see you all in the next one.